Hello folks, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. We're taking a look at LRC. Now, LRC is an interesting one. It was came highly recommended by some of my patrons, and I just want to make sure to cover this and ensure you understand more specifically, what's going on, try to find a good entry point, best practice, and just help you identify, what the technical charts are telling us, right? This is strictly a technical analysis. There's no fundamentals here. And just know I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Please always do your own research. There's also links in the description below for our Telegram community as well as my Patreon account. Feel free to offer your support. And there's even $25 in Bitcoin from Voyager if you'd like to go ahead and download, install that, and fund $100. Pretty easy money if you ask me. Either way, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right to it. Alright folks, let's go ahead and take a look at LRC. And just before we do, I would like to preface, if you're new to the channel, always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, get a baseline on what's going on over there, just so we know the overall sentiment of the market, so you can make a better, more informed decision, and hopefully kind of draw a correlation between the two to see how impacted they are from one another. Some currencies are completely independent, others are extremely reliant. So the hope here is to identify that, but also help you find good entry points, and of course, best practice too, right? I've been trading for a very long time. I want to help you learn from my mistakes. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is first, and we always look at the 4-hour chart because it's, in my opinion, has the best indicators. I use the 50, 100, and 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart primarily as my best indicators, and they really help work as strong support and resistance lines. And of course, in the 15-minute chart or a 1-minute chart, we'll use the EMA 15. But we'll go ahead and just take a look at this here at Bitcoin. And just something I want to note is we have a potential resistance level here from the recent price action. We're looking at it's been tested about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So it's likely that 59,500 will be the new resistance level, and it will likely be broken once the price tested a few more times. Possibly even the first time. We'll see what happens. We got to stay above the 57,000 range though, because that's a major support and resistance level for Bitcoin right now. So if you see this line here, essentially, that is the case in point where the price come up, back down, up, down, and all these altcoins are getting completely confused on what they want to do because Bitcoin can't seem to figure it out. I don't know if you can hear it, there's a little bit of frustration in my voice because this is just annoying the crud out of me because we're all on the verge of greatness and we want this bull run to finish strong, and it would really help if the price just stayed over 57,000 for maybe more than a 24-hour period. Okay, anyways, enough about that. That is Bitcoin right now for our chart. Just to note as well, the 250-day moving average are really close to 57,000. They're working as a support level now. Hopefully this green bar will close and will continue to do so. And the 100-day moving average worked as a support with a small variance, and that is essentially right there around 56, swinging back up. So good stuff right there on Bitcoin for now. Ethereum, similar scenario here in the sense that it's doing well. It's obviously progressing upwards as Bitcoin has. But if you note, I don't know if you know this already, Ethereum gets stronger when Bitcoin gets weaker. So if you see there's a major sell-off in Bitcoin, buy the dip on Ethereum because the price will likely continue to recover. Because look how fast all these dips happen with Bitcoin. So this is the 17th last month when Bitcoin had its first major sell-off. At least in a while, right? So we saw that, dipped way down, recovered back up, consolidate, started recovering. Bitcoin decided to dump a second time. Another recovery, consolidation. Third Bitcoin dump was right here, and ever since then it went on a tear. So we're talking a percent increase so far of almost 93%. And that is in what, roughly 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks? So that happens when this is happening, okay? So just keep that in mind, something to note for future reference. Feel free to flock over to Ethereum when Bitcoin drops because it's likely a pretty sure shot, okay? So that's kind of how that is working there. Moving forward, let's go ahead and take a look at LRC. Now, if you're new to the channel, always start with a 1-day chart, work our way down, 4-hour, 15-minute, potentially 1 minute depending on the price action, and we do that because we want to get a big picture of the whole entire market to know what's actually going on, because if you don't see the bird's eye view, you're not going to truly understand if it makes sense to take entry on a smaller, stellar level, right? So that's kind of why I do that, because I think it just makes a lot more sense to understand the overall sentiment and then to figure out what's really going on closely. So that's what we're going to do here. And just a note, LRC, so you're the first time looking at this. Again, my subscribers recommended I check this out. Thank you for that, by the way. And looking at this here, obviously it's interesting, the price action here, very strong. But if we look at the dates here, I wonder if, you look this here, right here, this is Bitcoin selling off recently. That makes sense. Let's go back to the 17th. Okay, where are we at here? I'm going back way too far. Okay, hold on. So April 17, right here. This is the first major Bitcoin sell-off. That makes sense. Bitcoin went all the way down there. Yeah, honestly, this is following Bitcoin very closely. So keep that in mind. As you can see, it was doing really well when Bitcoin was doing well. It was recovering, and it was probably trying to, going to test its previous all-time high of what, about 88 cents? And hold on, is that the all-time high? Yeah, okay. So yeah, so in other words, we're in pretty good shape here as far as the fact that identifying Bitcoin and LRC are essentially concurrent. They work together in that sense, whereas you can kind of almost predict LRC based on Bitcoin. Obviously, the last 24 hours was a little contradictory because this went way up where Bitcoin kind of went up a little. It's a little exaggerated, but that's because people are more comfortable now that Bitcoin's recovered and they're putting more into it, right? So anyways, that's kind of what we're looking at there, and then pretty consistent volume. So not bad. Low considering the price, but not terrible. We would like to see this kind of volume again over here. 438 million, that'd be nice. Of course, the price is much lower. That doesn't make sense. Either way, RSI is about 60, under 70, so not in terrible shape. It does appear that there's bullish sentiment, but nothing super out of the ordinary. And this is a good sign because of the fact that it could imply that we might see more growth in the next couple of days. This could be the start of a bull run. Again, as long as Bitcoin doesn't do what it's done in the recent past by just say, hitting 57,000, coming down to 53,000 and doing that little dance. If we can get Bitcoin over 60, this is really going to take off. It's pretty evident that it was doing well before Bitcoin sold off, and now it's planning to do well again now that Bitcoin is kind of recovering, right? So that's where that connection kind of helps. By the way, let's look at the 4-hour chart, see what's going on. Wow, okay, that's a pretty big increase. One thing to note though, and this is quite interesting, kind of nice, is that RSI never peaked up over 70 here with this run. So there's a strong chance that if we can consolidate a little bit further, the price comes back up again, we'll be in really good shape to continue this bull run. So it is likely, based on that sentiment alone, that there could be some type of increase. All right. And then looking at the moving averages, they're all hovering really close to about 56 cents. So just generally speaking, I would say it's pretty safe to say that somewhere in the 56 cent range is a pretty strong support level, especially with the 100-day coming back up. The 50 will eventually intersect with the price, but bear in mind these moving averages don't really have any play right now. It doesn't really matter. The price is so far up that unless we see it crash back down, which has only happened because Bitcoin decided to sell off, then we should be in pretty good shape. So I kind of like the way things are going here. This is looking pretty decent. And again, RSI is still under 70, so if we can get it, just a little bit more consolidation followed by another ramp up, it would be able to hold and continue upwards. Because when a bull run is successful, by the way, it's successful when it has short periods of consolidation in between. If you look at BNB, I think it was 3 weeks ago, it secretly went from 290 up to 650 in 10 days. Nobody really saw it coming. It didn't hit a lot of radars because it was only growing 10 to 15% per day, but it had short periods of consolidation in between. And it was able to, in a short, I think it was close to 5 to 10 days, it was able to increase by almost 100%. And it did that because it secretly consolidated in between literally every day. So what we want to see here is a consolidation period followed by more ramp up. We don't want to see such a sharp increase. I would prefer to see higher highs like this right here, where we just kind of comes up, consolidate, comes up, consolidate. That's the best kind of price movement you want to look for when it's making higher highs and higher lows. Either way, at this point here, again, still in good shape, under 70 on the RSI. I like that. Let's see what the 15-minute tells us. And it is no surprise because on the 15-minute chart, the lower the chart goes, the more exaggerated the relative strength index will be, right? It's kind of exponential almost. So the 1-minute chart will show it to be really crazy, 15 a little higher, so on, so forth. But what I'm trying to get at here is that I'm not surprised to see the RSI over 70 here, and the fact that it stayed above because it was on such a strong bull run that it can stay above on the 15-minute chart for longer. But bear in mind also what goes up must come down, and the fact that it consolidated here, or it retraced and then now it's consolidating, tells me the bulls are still in control. And the main reason why I say that is because the retracement wasn't very large. Usually we see the retracement come way down, or at least halfway. It usually splits the difference of that bull run. We see it come halfway down, and then it consolidates and tries to come back up again. This one is strictly consolidating with a minor retracement. Anytime that happens and the VWAP is staying kind of almost level with the price working as a support, it's a strong chance that that we will see this continue to increase. Let's take a look at the EMA. Yeah, see price is over the 15 EMA as well, which is awesome. So I really like the way this thing is going here. This is looking good because if you see down here as well, the MACD, it is swinging downward, but look at that bearish sentiment. It's almost null and void, like you hardly see anything at all. So honestly, I like the way this looks. So if I were to consider taking entry in this climate, I would obviously wait for further confirmation, because just because the price is over the EMA line doesn't mean you have to take entry. Let's take a quick look and see if there's any support levels to address. Gotta kind of go back a little ways here. So one of the previous highs, at least the all-time high at the time, was about 69 cents. Then it broke through, of course. So that could be the next major resistance level. So we'll just mark that. And of course, when it comes to support, we've got a support line here at approximately 63. So let's grab that guy. Put that in there. Yeah. All right. So, good news is here, we are over support, VWAP, and EMA. So honestly, those are all three good signs to take entry. Only thing I don't like here is that we don't have, the confirmation I usually like to look for, which is 2 solid green bars above the support. Now, if you see here, there's 2 solid green bars here. So again, hindsight's 20/20, but this is a case in point of a good entry point that I like to identify. Anytime you see 2 solid green bars that close above the VWAP, that's a pretty good sign. But preferably they closing above the EMA line. Okay. But I think furthermore here, honestly, if you want to play conservative, which I typically like to do, I like to wait for the price to come down and bounce off of a major support level. In this case, the VWAP and the support level of, what is it, 63, roughly 63 cents. I like to see the price bounce off that first before taking entry, because oftentimes when you take entry and it's just kind of a straight consolidation, sometimes it can go south on you, and I like to see it go south first and test the support levels. And it hasn't truly tested the VWAP yet, right? You see this little catch up here, of course, but that's usually just because there's the VWAP has to catch up in a 24-hour period. Sometimes that resets, but this is more consistent here. So again, I'd feel more comfortable if the price came down. Let's take a look at the 1-minute chart, just kind of see what we're looking at here. Again, it's definitely a difference in price to the VWAP, which is fine. It's not bad to have the price well above the VWAP line on the 1-minute chart, because this is not a significant percent. If you look at that, that's only about 3 to 4% for the difference. So it's not terrible. Anything over 8 to 10% is concerning. So we're fine with the VWAP being good, as catching up with the price. The price is currently under EMA, so obviously not a good entry point yet. But a case in point where a good entry point would be present on the 1-minute chart is when you see 3, not 2, but 3 solid green bars close above the EMA line. Okay, so for example, just run with me here. right here, you see the 1, 2, 3, right? Would that be a good case in point for an entry? No, it wouldn't. The reason why is because that first green bar didn't close above the EMA line. So if this guy was up here, then it might be a different consideration. So I don't prefer that. I don't like that. But if you get, here's an example of what a good case in scenario would be. Right here. I didn't draw that very well. Oh, sorry. Oh, geez. All right. So look at this here. So look at these guys. Let me mark that again. 1. Oh man. Sorry guys, I'm butchering it. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. So these 3 guys here. First one closed over EMA, second closed over EMA, third closed over EMA. Then what you do, you take entry right here. Kind of hard to see that, isn't it? So yep, you take entry right here and you'd ride this out. Okay, again, I know it's easier said than done right now because obviously that's a really good example, right? But there's no other good examples here because the simple fact that, boy, I'm butchering this. and the reason why is because it's in this consolidation phase, right? It's hard to find good entry points. Like here's another one, right? Look, 1, 2, 3. So you see those 3 there? Take an entry here. Yes, it dipped back down, but it bounced off the EMA, came back up. So try to use the EMA to your advantage. The 15, EMA 15 is absolutely the best. There's a 9 and a 20 that a lot of people use, and that's fine. It's kind of like a higher and a low. I take the average and split the difference, and I think 15 works perfectly. Just so that way I have less noise, I just have one moving average. And again, it's the exponential moving average 15, EMA 15. And if you use that in tandem with the VWAP, you're usually in pretty good shape. So again, just pay attention. If you're going to use the 1 minute chart, identify 3 green bars closing above the EMA line. And the reason why it's helpful to do that is because it signifies momentum in a bullish, in a bullish run. Obviously, the inverse would apply if you're shorting too, but for the most part, I think majority of my viewers are long, long positions. So the best thing to do in that scenario is just wait for full confirmation. And to me, 3 minutes on a 1 minute chart is full confirmation. And then of course, see how it responds. Because like if you had got in here, all good, it comes up and dips back down, not a big deal. Wait to see how it responds to this line, right? The EMA line. What it does is constantly bouncing off the EMA line, causing the price to go up. Anyway, I hope you found this beneficial, and if you do, please like and subscribe, comment below. Obviously, join our Telegram community if you haven't already. If you'd like to support me on Patreon, feel free to do so as well. We do have some opportunities there through Discord, so we can all communicate more effectively. Nonetheless, at this point, I really hope you have good luck. It looks like it's trying to jump up there in price. Hold on 1 second. Okay, nothing major, but oh, one last thing. Bear in mind, before you take entry, try to wait for the support level to be tested. Again, the VWAP and or 63 cents. And if you're in a position coming up here, just be very cautious to how the price responds to this resistance level of 69.5 cents. Because that will essentially either break above and stay above, or consider testing and return back down. Just be mindful. Okay, that's what I have to offer. That's all I want to tell you. Thanks so much for your time. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.